Hang tight, Sean. I told you I was going to mess something. Oh, I did it again. Hold on one second. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the 321 Endurance Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Wiley, and this is a show where I talk to all sorts of interesting endurance athletes from all over the globe. In today's episode, I'm contractually obligated to let you all know today's episode is brought to you by BocoGear.com. Boco Gear has the best running gear, hats that you can find if you're an endurance athlete or a runner. I don't look good in hats, but I look good in Boco Gear hats. So BocoGear.com. Super excited for today's episode. I'm talking with a gentleman. He's raised over $13,000 for Ronald McDonald House Charities of New England. He ran the Boston Marathon, I think, in a 3:07. He ran 50 miles around the city of Boston, and he's got even more planned for 2022. Let's give it up for Boston native Sean Young. Sean, how are you today?
Great. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me, Patrick.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I appreciate you making the time. I know you got quite the training schedule, so thanks for taking a few minutes out to talk with us today. So really quick, maybe in 30 seconds or less, give us the Reader's Digest. Who is Sean Young?
So my name is Sean Young. I am a Rhode Island actual native, but I live in Boston, Massachusetts right now. I am 27 years old, work for a fitness, nutrition, and mindfulness company called Wellbeats. And I absolutely love endurance training, got into it 3 years ago and really fell in love with it.
Awesome. So, what got you into endurance training? You seem like a pretty fit guy. You lift a lot of weights, but what is it about running and endurance stuff that gets you excited?
Yeah. So it's a funny story. I grew up playing football. I grew up running track, not long distance. And if you could see me in real life, I'm 6 feet, about 205. So I'm not your typical runner. And that's kind of what got me into it. I love being the underdog and I like kind of showing people up. And so that's really how I got into it. I got into it like 3 years ago. And a lot of people would tell me, you can't do that. You're too big. You're too, big to run certain speeds and stuff like that. And I was like, screw you, I'm going to do what you say I can't do and go out and do it. And so I got into running for actually the Ronald McDonald House Running Club 3 years ago with Bob Rothenberg, who runs it. He's an incredible man. Him and his wife run the club. And from there, I really fell in love with it and started to do longer distances like, half marathons, a marathon. And then I was like, 26 miles is tough, but I want to go even further. So I did 50 this summer and
you got great. The bug, you got bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's awesome. So the Ronald McDonald House played a big part in your running, it seems like. So, obviously we've talked on different settings about my experience with Ronald McDonald House. How did you get involved with the charity? And what do you like most about it, I guess?
Yeah, I think it's their mission is to help families kind of find a home away from home and to, have that place where they can go when they're in the most challenging times of their lives. And, we've talked about this and you had to experience that. And, I think you really admire the work that the house does and all the volunteers do as well. And, I really just fell in love with what all of those people do and what the house can do. And I think there's, thousands of houses across the world. And, I got involved with it actually from a friend that I worked with, Louis Saligi, who I'm still, keep in touch with. He was a college runner, and one day he was going to run after work, and I was like, let me join you. And so I heard about it. It's $60 for the year to sign up to go run with the Ronald McDonald House. And, Bob is a Hall of Fame track coach from Brown University with over 20 plus years of experience. And, I obviously I don't train with just anyone. So when I heard that, I was like, crap, I gotta get involved in this. And, there's some pretty elite runners in the club. And, so that really drew me to it, both the Ronald McDonald House mission, and then also the fact that it's just such a, incredible running club with a lot of credibility.
Yeah, it really is an amazing organization. Obviously, I've been talking about. I'm in the midst of fundraising and everything right now for Boston Marathon. It really is incredible. So I've already expressed this to you, but again, thank you for all the work that you do for this amazing charity. And you didn't just run a marathon for Ronald McDonald House. You ran 50 miles around the city of Boston. Tell me what that was all about.
Yeah, it's I still get choked up thinking about it, just because so much went into it, and so many people played a huge role in that. One person in particular is Ellen Simmons, who really helped. She was there, I mean, the whole day. I started at 5 a.m. and I was texting her at 5 a.m. right when I started, and she was right there with me. But, and also on top of that, we were able to raise actually over almost $15,000 with that initiative alone. So,
so that was separate from just the Boston Marathon fundraiser. That was money raised in it of itself.
Actually, so those the two were synonymous. So I did that event to fundraise for the Boston Marathon, and then with those two, with the marathon and the 50 miler, we were able to raise just about $15,000.
Wow! So I don't know if you know these numbers off the top of your head, but so it costs $160 for one family to stay one night at Ronald McDonald House. They don't have to pay for it, obviously. So $15,000 you provided in the money that you raised, enough money for my family who stayed for 90 days. That is a little over a 90-day stay for one family that you provided. That is unfreaking believable. So
yeah, thank you, Pat.
Yeah, you should be really proud of that. But besides just raising money for the charity, what was it like running 50 miles? I have yet to do an ultra marathon. I've done triathlons and half distance stuff, but never anything over 26.2 miles on my feet. So what was the experience like with that?
Yeah. I wish I had trained a little bit longer, but the time came and I was just like, screw it, I got to do it. It's go time. The day I went out way too fast. I was just feeling it at 5 a.m. all jacked up. I went out and started running like 8-minute miles for the first 26 miles. And so I was
which is a good pace. So for those who don't know, an 8-minute mile is a 3:30 marathon. So that is not slow by any means.
Yeah, I mean, I finished. It might have, by the end of the first 26, I think I finished in like 3:50, which is like, terrible for me though, because I had 26, 25 more miles to go, which was really stupid on my part, but I just was feeling it. And I think I only went out with like a Gatorade and 2 protein bars. So
you didn't have anybody crewing for you or bringing you food or anything?
Not the first marathon. No, the first 25, 26 miles, I just did that solo because I figured I can do this. I've done it. As we may talk about last year, doing the Calendar Club Challenge. I've done 26 miles back to back days for like 7 days in a row. So I knew I could do that at the start. It was just after. And once I did 26, I came back where I am now in South Boston, got like a little bit more food. As you know, endurance training, your stomach doesn't always sit right. So I couldn't really eat too much. I think I had one protein bar and a little bit of Gatorade, and
Yeah.
just did not fuel properly. And so I probably took like 5 to 10 minutes rest. I saw my family here. Ellen was here. She met me
Mhm.
here, and then just went back out and was like, I got to get after it. I still have another marathon to go.
Oh my word. I think you'll be a little bit more prepared the next time around, right? But you got it done. And anyways, so you got the 50 miler under your belt. Uh, you know, I don't know if the listeners heard what you were saying that last part there, but you do the calendar club, which you're gonna have to tell us what the calendar club is. But you ran 26.2 miles consecutively, day after day, for multiple days.
Yeah. So what the Calendar Club is, and I actually found out about this through this, entrepreneur, really incredible guy, Jesse Itzler. It's He started it, and then I think he got it from Colin O'Brady, who's like, he climbs mountains all over the world. Another crazy guy. But
Mhm.
you run the mile. You run a mile for every day of the month. So December 1st, that's what it was, 1 mile. December 2nd, 2 miles, and you keep going. So every day it gets a lot harder. And
Mhm.
then by the end of, I think it was like the last week, it was like 150 plus miles in 1 week, which some people who do endurance training have seen on Strava. They do that, but
Yeah.
to do a
That's like my
marathon.
monthly total.
Yeah, exactly. To do 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and
Yeah.
31, it was just like, I think on the 30th day, I think I broke my ankle and just had to keep going because I couldn't give up.
Oh my word. That is unfreaking believable. I mean, like I'm hearing that and like I do this stuff, right? And I'm hearing this, I'm like, this kid is friggin' nuts. Like, oh my word. I love it though, because it just shows what the human body is capable of when you're fueling it properly, when you're training, like a beast. And really, I think the biggest aspect is the mental hurdle, right?
Yeah.
So, what are you telling yourself on day 4 of running 26 plus miles,
Yeah. I mean,
you know?
honestly, that's why I always go back to, like, you have to have a why in life. And if you have a driving force that's greater than, I guess, kind of giving up, or
Mhm.
telling yourself you need to stop or quit, there's no way that that can get in the way and stop you. And to me, last year it was the Ronald McDonald House and the children and their families, and
Mhm.
especially, like, around holiday season, it just kind of hits home a little bit harder.
Mhm.
And it was just like, these kids, even I was just telling myself in my head, they're relying on me to do this and to help them raise money and to help them
Mhm.
get through this. So, like, I couldn't quit. That was not even a thought in my head,
Mm.
even though my ankle was probably broken. And it wasn't like, a life or death situation. Like, if I don't run these 26 miles, these kids, may
Right.
not get the money they need. But in my head, it was.
I absolutely love that mentality. That's amazing, and it sounds like from the last conversation we had that you're taking that mentality and you're kind of doubling down, I guess. What is this crazy race that I hear that you have planned for this year?
Yeah. So I actually talked about it this past week with Ellen Simmons, who's she's on the staff of the Ronald McDonald House. And I knew, one of my goals for 2022 is to run a 100 miler. So I'm definitely doing that this year. It's just a matter of where and when. And so, my cousin who lives in Ohio, on my dad's side, brought this idea that we can do one together. So he wants to do a 50 mile, and I was going to do 100. I still may do that, but I think it may hit home a little bit harder, a little bit more, to run around Boston again, and to kind of keep the legacy going.
Mhm.
Anyone who does, you know, live around here, or even raising money for the Ronald McDonald House of New England, that's Providence and Boston. So
Mhm.
for those who live around here, they may want to do something like this. And I think it'd be cool to be able to just do another 50 on top of the loop I did last year.
That would be wild. And, you're going to have to let me know when that time comes. I will be there to support in one way, shape, or form, whether
Yeah.
that's running along with you or just being a support on the road, giving you food, because I know that you like to run 50 miles with one thing of Gatorade and a protein bar.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's amazing. So really quick, we don't have a whole lot of time here, but I see your training all the time on Instagram. You're constantly updating everyone on your training, and you're throwing down some numbers, man. I'm telling you, just like I saw you did an 18-mile run at a sub-7 pace, and you're not just doing that, you're also doing that in like brick cold weather when it's 10 degrees out.
Yeah.
So really quick, just give me an idea, give the listeners an idea of what's your training right now. How many miles a week are you running? What are you doing preparing, knowing that you're going to run 100 miles later in the year, but also having a marathon coming up in April?
Yeah. Yeah. Right now I'm following a plan with Bob Rothenberg. He wrote me out one, and it's going really well. So I have a marathon in April of this year that I'm hoping to qualify for Boston of next year. And right now I'm, really on a great path to being able to do that. I'm at like 75 to 80 miles a week. Long runs up to 18 miles, longish is like 10 miles. And then speed work is, 1 to maybe 2 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
And that speed work has really helped me, obviously get a lot faster. Now my times are in like, 5 to 5:20 pace, whereas last year it was
Wow.
like hard for me to do a 6-minute mile.
Right.
So
Right.
it's just, I think it comes down to being patient,
Yep.
just putting the work in and just, staying consistent with it.
Yeah, that's are you lifting at all in the middle of this, or are you strictly running?
So I'm trying to get like 2 days of some sort of workout in, whether that be core
Mhm.
exercises and
Mhm.
then maybe like 1 day of lifting. It has been really hard trying to balance life with that and trying to go out and still have fun and,
Yeah.
um, you know, do that with work on top of it. Um, I've been really trying to focus on sleep. I think that's recovery has been huge for me. In the
Mhm.
past, I've gotten injured with upcoming races. And so I've really focused on recovery and sleep this time around. So I've kind of decided to take a break on lifting weights as
Mhm.
much and focus more on recovery, nutrition, and the runs.
Awesome. Yeah, it's deadlifting and squatting and benching is great, but it's not necessarily going to help you get through a marathon or 100 miles.
Yeah.
So you got to put the time in. That's fantastic, man. You really are an inspiration, to everyone in this area or anyone who listens to this show, because what you're doing is not what normal runners do. You are getting into that I'm an ultra endurance athlete craziness, and I absolutely love it. And I hope to follow along with you and start doing some longer races. So keep it up, keep posting on social. And speaking of social, where can they find you on social media?
Yeah. So my handle is right there. I think it's Sean underscore Young underscore and either one or two.
Yeah, I think
And
we
then
got 2 underscores in there on IG,
yeah,
but
yeah, I believe two underscores and then Facebook as well, LinkedIn, same handles.
awesome. Well, Sean, I want to thank you so much for being on the 321 Endurance podcast. Would love to have you on in the future and catch up with some of the other races that you got going on. But thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Patrick. Have a great
Appreciate it.
time.
Thanks. You too. Well, there you have it, folks. That was Sean Young. Man, just an impressive endurance athlete. Was really excited to have him on the show. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share this. Go follow Sean on social media at Sean underscore Young underscore. Make sure you got that second underscore in there. But thanks so much, folks. I appreciate you listening in, and we'll talk to you next time. Hey, I'm the